I am Lamont at Large. Today I am at the Brookings Cemetery here in Raytown, Missouri, and I'm here to visit the grave of Roy Ramsey, a man that was executed by the state of Missouri for the crime of double murder. Before I begin the story about the double murder that took place, let's go back in time a little bit further and talk about Roy Ramsey. So on March 25th, 1971, barely 18, 19 years old at the time, Roy was arrested, tried, and convicted of a robbery that he was sentenced to 10 years in the Missouri State Prison. So about 6 years into his sentence, he was arrested again while he's in prison for the charge of rape and sodomy against a fellow prisoner. So on top of the time that he already has left, he was tried and convicted of that and given another 15 years in prison. So eventually he gets out, and him and his brother, younger brother, Billy Ramsey, they're both sitting around hatching plans of how to make a quick buck. And Billy Ramsey remembers being in jail with a guy whose grandparents, Garnett and Betty Ledford, he remembers him telling stories about that his dad would collect coins. So he tells the story. He goes, hey, my buddy, his granddad collects coins. He might have some money. Let's go rob him. They're old and no big deal. So on November 21st, 1988, Roy Ramsey, his younger brother Billy, and Billy's girlfriend, Angela Ray, she drives the two to the house. They get out. Roy is hiding to the side. And Billy knocks on the door. Garnett opens the door. How can I help you? And Billy says, hey, remember me? I'm Billy. I'm a friend of your son. Blah, blah, blah. We served time in jail together. And he goes, oh, yeah, hey, what's going on? And as soon as they start talking, Roy pulls out a .22 caliber pistol, puts it in Garnett's face, forces him inside the house, forces them into the bedroom where Garnett's wife, Betty, is. Immediately, he has Billy tie up Betty while he has the gun pointed to Garnett and forces him to open up the safe where the coins are, where the jewelry are, where the cash is, anything of value that he might possibly have. While this is all going on, Angela Ray is outside in the car waiting for them to get out. So as he's forcing Garnett to open the safe and all that, Billy goes throughout the house ransacking it. He took a VCR, took a couple miscellaneous things, was shoving everything to a pillowcase, and he put the two pillowcases full of the valuables that he got from the house to the side of the door. And as he was about to go to the kitchen to start looking for more stuff to steal, he hears multiple shots. Pop, 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 pop. And he's like, what the hell? So Roy comes out to him and he says, I killed him. And Billy said, why'd you kill him for? He said, I killed him because they know who you are. They'll be able to identify us when they call the police. So they come out of the house, they jump into the car, and they split. They go back home and they split up their loot between Roy, Billy, their mother, and the getaway driver, Angela Ray. So once Angela Ray sees the story in the newspaper about the murders of Garnett and Betty Ledford, which rocked this town. It was all over the news, all over the news. She got really, really mad and pissed off at Roy, and she tells him, why'd you kill them? Why'd you kill them? And he tells her, bitch, if you say anything, if you call the police, I will kill you too. And he meant it. She gets scared and she hightails it to Memphis. So when they were dividing up the loot, Billy gets mad at his brother because Roy takes more of the valuables that he got. So the brother, like an idiot that he is, he takes the murder weapon and pawns it. Okay, that's fine. So eventually the detectives start learning who the culprits of this murder was. They find Angela Ray. She tells them, you know, hey, I didn't have anything to do with the murder. I was a getaway driver. Roy and Billy Ramsey went into the house, and Roy is the one that shot and killed him. So they track down the brothers, arrest both of them, and the detectives, they're talking to Billy. They're like, okay, what's the story? Billy tells them, hey, he killed him. This was just supposed to be just a simple robbery, and we leave. The detectives tell Billy, okay, this is what we do. We're going to offer you a 25-year sentence if you go ahead and testify against your brother. He takes the deal. He takes the deal and goes on trial. Roy goes on trial for the murder of Garnett and Betty. And in exchange for testifying against his own brother, Billy escapes the death penalty, gets off with a 25-year sentence. So on December the 3rd, 1990, Roy Ramsey is found guilty of double murder, all the while denying the murder, saying he didn't shoot them. He blamed his brother for the murder. They did a series of tests on Roy's hands and discovered that there was some kind of powder residue on his hand from him firing a gun. And when they had arrested him, they found a silver coin on his person that was from the murder scene that belonged to Garnett. And on top of that, the wallet that Billy threw out had his fingerprint on it. So he got a lot of evidence against this guy. So he's found guilty of the double murder, and on March 14th, 1991, he's sentenced to death. And that's where he remained on death row while continuously denying that he was guilty of pulling the trigger. And now we're going to go to Roy Ramsey's grave. And here is the grave, a rather small stone for Roy Ramsey Jr., June 6, 1953 to April 14, 1999, which was the date of his execution. According to witnesses of the execution, it went very smoothly. He was declared dead within 3 minutes of the drugs flowing in his body. His last words were, "Tell everyone I love them. Tell the governor I understand and that I'm not mad at him. And in the future, it would hurt him to spare anybody." He went out denying his involvement in the murder of those two poor innocent people. He denied being the triggerman. So his brother was sentenced to 25 years, and he served every single day of that sentence. He was released in 2013, and there's really no record of whatever happened to him. But he did forgive his brother for testifying against him, strangely enough. Payable on death. All right, guys, Lamont at Large, signing off.